It's time for Ohio State basketball. The Buckeyes are preparing for battle, and you're preparing to listen to them. Equally important, this is Fan Warmup.
Happy Monday, everybody. Brandon Beam here. Or is it Tuesday? It's Tuesday. Happy Tuesday, everyone. It's Thanksgiving week. There are no rules. Everything gets a little crazy. It's feast week. We got college basketball on. Nobody knows what day it is. Buckeyes and Mount St. Mary's. The Mount, as Reimer likes to call them. Coming up here at 6:30 over at the Shot. All kinds of good stuff. Buckeyes off to a 5-0 start. We'll look for its first 6-0 start since they won the first 9 games of the 2019-2020 season. That obviously was a good year for Ohio State, led by Chris Holtmann at the time. Unfortunately, did not get to see that team play in an NCAA tournament game. Last game, if you weren't keeping your eyeballs or ears on the Buckeyes, the most impressive victory so far, I think, for Ohio State, at least just performance-wise. Western Michigan was last week. 5 Buckeyes in double figures. Christoph Tilley, 17 points and a career-high 7 assists. Devin Royal and Amari Bynum both had a double-double in that game. It was really good, and just came away again thinking that Christoph Tilley is awesome. Like, he has been a terrific portal addition for this team with everything that has been going on. Here was Jake Diebler from a little bit, I guess this was post-game on Thursday, when he was talking about, you got the Mount coming up tonight. What do they want to accomplish before their first road game against Pittsburgh this Friday?
I think you got to be prepared going into a game, and listen, our next opponent is a good one, so we got to make sure that we're clicking on all cylinders heading into early next week. I think for us, whether it's foul trouble or, God forbid, injury or whatever, sickness, certainly we saw it all last year. We have to be, it's next man up. You got to be ready for those situations that present themselves, and certainly not exclusive to us. Most everybody deals with some element of that throughout the course of the year. So that's why it's important, Adam, I think, is for guys to get that experience so they're ready. And it could happen in a segment of a game where we need more. And I think, Amari has been a really bright spot for us. He continues as the season goes on to show more and more consistency with what he's capable of. So getting a double-double tonight was great, and just under 19 minutes. So, yeah, I think that's why. Is we got to continue to grow and develop that.
Would expect to see more of Amari Bynum tonight, and then Jake Diebler in his post-game press conference talking about how Amari Bynum is already one of his favorite guys that he's coached. It's not just what you see game in, game out. He is young and he is willing to learn. And when you tell him something in practice, that he immediately remedies it and then make sure that it doesn't happen again. And again, last game out, he was terrific. 12 points for him, 10 rebounds, first career double-double in just 18 minutes. His effectiveness has been pretty solid so far. What about not taking any team lightly? Mount St. Mary's has had a tough start to their season.
Well, I think first off, you got to respect the game. And we've all been around the game long enough to know that anything can happen on any given night in college basketball. Is part of what makes it, in my opinion, the best sport ever. But again, we just lean on kind of our principles and our core values to guide us. And it doesn't matter who we play. Certainly, we saw on film this team play well in stretches and beat a team that we already played. So it wasn't hard to see what they were capable of on film. And I think, listen, early in the season, everybody's kind of trying to establish who they are, what their strengths are. They're going to figure some things out because they got some good pieces. They're athletic, they're fast, they rebound well. It wasn't hard to look and find enough good tape to say, man, this team is capable of being really good on any given night.
If you're comparing the last game, Ohio State, again, 91-58 victors over Western Michigan. In the last game that Mount St. Mary's played, they lost to Western Michigan by 23 points. Mount St. Mary's, again, tough start to the season for them. Lost to West Virginia out of the gates, lost to Bucknell, did beat St. Francis, and then 3 losses in a row, all on the road against Cincinnati, Maryland, and Western Michigan. That Maryland game was tight, though. That Maryland game was a 5-point victory for the Terps at home for them. So might be a little frisky tonight. Hopefully everything stays just very business for the Buckeyes, and they can get to 6-0 for the first time again since the 2019-2020 season. Let's go over to the Shot and check in with our great friend, Ron Stokes.
It's time to go inside the Buckeyes with OSU basketball analyst and former captain Ron Stokes.
Ron, what's happening? Happy Thanksgiving week to you. What's going on?
Same to you, and glad to hear that I'm a great friend.
Right? I feel like we're just going to continue this tradition now. You're always going to be a great friend when we bring you in here. Ron, what did you take away from Ohio State's last performance against Western Michigan. Thought Amari Bynum was good. Christoph Tilley, I think, continues to be the storyline early on this season. But I thought it was the most comprehensive performance we've seen out of this team so far at this early juncture.
Yeah, I just thought they took care of their business. I mean, you play a team like Western Michigan. They came in with certain strengths. Ohio State took that away. One of them was their ability to rebound, and Ohio State out-rebounded them by 19. 5 players in double figures, 32 field goals on 19 assists, 2 players with a double-double. To your point, I think it was a very overall cohesive game where everybody did their job. Of course, they didn't play a perfect game, but it's early in the year. But I think the takeaway is they handled their business. They did everything they needed to do. And here's another thing that I get quite a bit, Brandon. Like when Ohio State defeats a team like this, they say, how bad is this team, right? And to Jake's point, on any given night, if a team is knocking down shots, they can be competitive. The one point guard for Western Michigan, this is a guy who went out and had 30 points in the next ball game.
Yeah.
And so anybody can get hot and just change the trajectory of the game. So I thought Ohio State took away all the strengths from Western Michigan, and that's why they won so decisively.
Ron, what did you make of like midway through the second half in that game? And I know that I was listening to Jake Diebler post-game, and he's like, we don't really often do platoon switches, but there was a whole different starting 5 out there, like 12 minutes left to go, 15 minutes left to go in the second half. And it's something that you really, like in this first year and change here, we don't see that often, but they were, you could tell, experimenting with that lineup in that game last week.
Yeah, one of the benefits of having a really favorable November schedule with most of your games at home and some of the opponents that you should win, you have the opportunity to experiment, to play guys that you may not normally see in certain types of games later on in the Big Ten. And what Jake is trying to do, as any coach would early in the year, is find out who he can trust in certain situations. And you'll see most of the time coaches will call a timeout right before the half, not just to score, but to also prepare for what you're going to see in clutch time during the course of the year. And can depend on guys. Can you tell them to do something? Like he made a point to say, I told them to go at 10 seconds, but they went at 13, and it costs us. So you build on that, you learn from that, and that's what the coaches are trying to do. Experiment, understand where their team is and where it can go ultimately once you get into February and March.
What are you most anticipating or looking at tonight, Ron, with Thanksgiving come down the pipe? They got their first road game coming up on Black Friday. They head to Pittsburgh. What are you interested in seeing about this team this evening?
Continue to handle their business. Yep. I mean, you got a chance, one game at a time, but finish the month 7-0, right? You have Mount St. Mary's here at home, then you go on the road for your first true road game. You had a scrimmage on the road, but here's a chance to go out and finish the month very strong because, once you get throughout December and into January, it's not going to be easy.
How much were you impressed by Amari Bynum's double-double last game? He seemed so efficient in the minutes that he got.
There's certain freshmen that really make a big impression on me. I remember watching Aaron Kraft do his thing as he was starting to evolve as a player. But Amari Bynum clearly is someone that you got to get very excited about. I mean, double-double in just 5 games. Within 5 games, he continues to get better every single time he plays. His ceiling is very, very high. Very promising career. Very excited for him.
Ron, always appreciate the time. Thanks for popping on with us this evening. Have a great call tonight. Enjoy Thanksgiving, and we will check in again on Friday, all right?
All right, go Bucks.
There he goes, Ron Stokes with us every single pregame show. What about Jake Diebler? Again, coming from Thursday after the victory against Western Michigan. What did he learn most about his guys last time out?
We have to continue to take what we do in practice and play that way in games. And, at times it's been really good offense, and then other times it's been really good defense, but we haven't played at a high level on both ends, for significant stretches of multiple games yet. I thought we did that tonight, but we played at a high level on both sides of the ball for, majority of the game. And that was good. I think we also have talked about, needing to be able to develop some of our depth and get some of those guys experience. And I think, that we were able to do that tonight as well.
You might be able to see a little bit more of that this evening. And Mount St. Mary's comes in 1-5 on the season. You do have to play your opponents, right? Like we know that. You just heard Jake Diebler talk about it. You heard Ron Stokes. Third time all-time meeting between Ohio State and Mount St. Mary's. The Buckeyes have won each of their first 2, both of which were in Columbus, 1989 and then 2015. Everybody have an awesome night. We will talk to you at the postgame show. Buckeye basketball's up next right here on The Fan.
You've been listening to Fan Warmup. Stay tuned for Buckeye basketball on your flagship home for Ohio State athletics. The Fan,